You are creating the biggest shit up crisis known to man.
Now
You make the shit up crisis bad enough. Wait till Jon Ackerman gets control, and nobody will be married.
This is not a good idea for an app.
Hello and welcome to the Carpool Guys Podcast, where three dads just trying their best to talk about life, work, family, and all the detours in between. We've made mistakes, lots of mistakes, but we've also learned a few things along the way. We don't have it all figured out, but that's never stopped us from sharing our 2 cents anyway. The Carpool Guys Podcast is hosted by Dworetsky, Jon Ackerman, and Dave from Flatbush, Tannenbaum. Buckle up, it's carpool time. All right, welcome, guys.
Hey,
What's doing, guys? How was Yontif?
it was Yontif. It was nice, and at the same time, I am not sad that it is time to go back to real life.
I always kind of feel like, you know, the Berenstein Bears books, I feel like there should be one, the Berenstein Bears and Too Much Yontif.
My mother-in-law says it every single Yontif.
Really? It's not a me original?
Whenever the kids get out of hand, Berenstein Bears and Too Much Yontif. Berenstein Bears and Too Much. It could be like the first night of Yontif, and she'll say it.
Do you think that there's like a stage of life where we're not going to feel like that? It's like when our oldest got to the point where they could babysit and like we became like a little bit free that we could go out on a Saturday night with our spouses. Is there a time where we will like enjoy Yontif again?
I like it. I love Yontif. I think this year where it was the maximum amount of Yontif days plus Shabbos, that kind of clobbered me.
That's fair.
I love Yontif. It just gets tiring at the end of the 2-month stretch, which it feels like.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like it's like you're parenting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for all time till the end of time. And then
Yeah.
Shabbos.
Yeah. We got Shabbos coming up. Well, guys, welcome to our first episode of this brand new podcast that was, a little bit born from the efforts that we all had contributed to the School of Mock podcast. So this is an exciting new adventure. I think we should all probably just introduce ourselves real quick for the people who are new to our vibe. Dave, you want to go first?
My name is David Tannenbaum, Dave from Flatbush.
All right. Infamous, the one and only of
Aren't you from
WFAN fame.
Don't you live in West Hempstead?
It's funny you say that, Asher. The truth is I've never been from Flatbush.
What?
Fake Flat. You never heard that?
What? I thought you lived in Flatbush.
I'm not from Flatbush.
Where are you from?
I'm from Madison.
You're from Madison?
It goes
Is that not
Flatbush,
the same
Midwood,
thing?
Madison.
So you're from, wow. This is a big deal for me. I always thought
Are
you
you
were from
telling me
Flatbush.
that Midwood and Madison are not part of Flatbush?
No,
They're not the same thing?
They're different areas.
Different areas.
I mean,
Is
people
it like-
who live in people who live in Midwood say they're they're from Flatbush, but it's not really Flatbush.
What's the difference between Flatbush and Midwood and Madison? Like, is there a difference?
The people.
But what is it? Like, you could
I mean,
say,
we're
okay,
pretty
West
cool.
Hempstead's
Like,
like
I
this,
think,
and the
like-
Five Towns is like that. But like, what's is the food?
There's not much food by me, really. I mean, it's the avenues. It's which avenues near you. So like Avenue J is more like Flatbush. I believe that Flatbush is more like Flatbush Avenue in the Avenue J area.
Is that something that everyone in your area believes, or is it just you are not a
I
Flatbush
mean, listen,
person?
if you're from where I'm from, you're not from Flatbush. We know that. That we know.
I hear that. Okay, fine. Are you a wannabe Flatbush person?
No, I'm not. It's
No.
just a better ring. Like as we're talking about names for the podcast,
Right.
it's the same.
Like I grew up in North Woodmere, and it was like a whole thing when I was a kid that I always said I was from the Five Towns. But now I say I'm from North Woodmere because North Woodmere is a thing. When I was a kid, North Woodmere was like 10 people in a Sefer Torah. Like that was it.
And it's really Valley Stream, right?
Valley Stream and North Woodmere. North Woodmere is part of Valley Stream. Yeah, it's synonymous. You could send my mail to Valley Stream and it would get to my house.
Hey, you've got the mall, Green Acres.
Technically, not to
Dollar
correct
Stream.
you, this is not the School of Mock.
We
but
didn't really call the mall the Green Acres. We called it like the Murderplex. It was not a place where we were allowed to. We could not go there when we were kids.
Roger, this is not the School of Mock, so I'm not going to fully mock you. But you said I could send your mail to Valley Stream. But last I checked, you live in West Hempstead.
Okay, so
just wanted
I
to
get
get that out. So if I send a letter to Valley Stream, not going to you anymore.
So guess what? Even if you sent it to Valley Stream, it would come to me because I get mail now from my siblings who made Aliyah, from my parents who made Aliyah, and my grandparents who are now buried in Elmont. I get mail from everybody.
You get mail. Wait, you get mail for your grandparents?
Yes, yes.
His kids still write them for Hanukkah gifts.
Oh God. We get mail. Sometimes it's really sad. I go to the mailbox all excited for mail, and there's nothing for me. It's for everybody else. It's like
I hear that.
There was a person in our apartment when we were newly married, Gerald Tannenbaum. They lived on the 5th floor.
Gerald.
No relationship. But now in West Hempstead, we get mail for Gerald and Abigail Tannenbaum.
That's amazing.
wow.
That's like a Lord John Marbury reference right there. Gerald!
It's a deep
All right,
cut.
Asher, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Asher Dworetsky, and I have never lived in Flatbush. Though my mother actually did live in Flatbush and went to Flatbush Yeshiva, which she likes to tell us all the time, and likes to flaunt her excellent Ivrit that she learned in Flatbush Yeshiva, or Yeshiva of Flatbush, I think it's actually called.
Excellent. All right. Well, I am Jon Ackerman, and I am currently from West Hempstead, though I have a little bit of a conflict when people say, where are you from? Because I grew up in Minnesota. So my instinct is to say I'm from Minnesota, even though I'm very proud to be from West Hempstead. But I do have that a little bit of the inner, where am I actually from syndrome.
I will always be from Brooklyn. I happen to live in West Hempstead. So I hear you.
Right. I am also I'm always going to be that North Woodmere kid who didn't have friends.
Wow. Well, I'm very excited about this new show, even though we're going to probably be spending a lot of time helping Asher make it, out of North Woodmere and hopefully finding some friends along the way. But we are going to be tackling some of life's great challenges and probably screwing up a bunch along the way. And I guess figuring this out together, this grand adventure. So excited to get started, guys. And Asher, you want to lead us off with this episode's topic?
Yeah, I do. It's a great topic. This week, we're actually going to start off with something I think that speaks to all of us because we're really, in the middle part of our career. All three of us have really worked hard to get to this point. But I don't think any of us would say that we got to the place where we got on our own. There were a lot of people who encouraged us along the way and gave us great advice. And I think that the best way to start off this podcast is with the topic, the best advice we ever received. And that would be both personally and professionally. So when you say it, just, label it. This was in a professional area or this was personally, I got this advice. Because we all became who we are by other people caring and encouraging us.
Do you ever feel like it crosses over a little bit, like something that could start as personal advice and it becomes professional advice and vice versa, starts as professional, but really kind of trickles into your personal life?
I do. I for sure. There are things that, people have always, I remember hearing pick your battles. I mean, that became my personal life mantra, not with my spouse, but with my my kids. With my kids for sure is that's something that I always say to my wife is we got to pick our battles. You can't do everything. And that was advice that somebody gave me along the road.
Yeah. No, that for sure. With parenting, for sure. Okay, Dave, you want to lead us off?
So I like this advice. This was a personal advice. I'm what some might call at times a little bit of a character. And
I like how you say a little bit.
And I think especially when I was dating, you had a lot of bad advice, in my opinion, of trying to be somebody who you're not.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because I really don't remember which specific person told me this, but they said it was in Camp Hask at the time, and it was just be yourself. And anybody who likes you or can gravitate towards you will do that because you're being yourself. And I've always found that to be true. I think that when somebody who is more of a light person or likes to maybe joke around, obviously there's a time and place for everything, which sometimes I don't know the time or place, but there's the element of you have to be yourself. And if you're not true to yourself, you're not true to your nature or what makes you a person, then you're just living somebody else's life and doing something what people want you to be, and that doesn't necessarily make the happy you or the right you.
I like that so
much. If you
much.
have a personality, let it shine. Let your personality shine. And I've lived that. And I really, I'm not going to say I don't care what people think, because that's not a good trait either, to not care what anybody thinks about anything, but to not let people dictate who you are and how you live your life.
I think that's really good. I also like what you just said before, is like, you do have to care what other people think, not to the point that it defines who you are, but it walking around like a person in a weird costume all day does send strange vibes to people. But I think you're right. Being true to yourself, that's really good. Wow, good.
And I'll tell you just one thing. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
You go.
I was going to say, I love what you're saying. First of all, I'm just jotting down some notes. So we are for sure going to have a dating episode or episodes at some point when we share stories. Dave, I have this. I want to do this March Madness style bad dating stories, like brackets. So maybe March Madness time we'll do like a dating tourney. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, some of the stories are pretty dangerous.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
Well,
I think I might have been a little too much of myself on some
too much. It's hard, by the way. It's hard to just be yourself. There's so much pressure to, when you're dating, and like you kind of perform a little bit, and like it's, can I be a Star Wars fan? Can I be a fantasy sports fan?
But I do take it to an extreme. I'll be the first to admit. So like,
but that's who you are.
For example, in the month of Adar, when there's Purim,
right,
I will walk to shul in a toupee. I do. I wear it, and then on 4th of July this year, it was a Friday, I wore a red, white, and blue cowboy hat.
Right.
And I said to myself, and I said this to my wife also, I said, I'm doing it. Hopefully, people will laugh and feel good. And and that's hopefully what I pride myself in. If people laugh and have a good day because of it, I've accomplished my lot. But on another hand, on the other side, there are people that wear some strange things in shul. I'm not going to call anybody out. There are people that wear really weird things in shul. And for them, it could be a statement. It could be a bow tie. It could be a strangely colored suit or a shirt. Why could he do that? And I can't do something I think is funny that fits the day.
So I agree with you 100%. I think also that's why you were so beloved this past summer in Kaylee, is because you have that part of your personality that you're like, I'm all in, I'm going to be hysterical. And for people to smile and bring a smile to their day, I totally agree. A couple of weeks ago, I was with my oldest, we were walking around Stop and Shop, which is not a common occurrence for me. And we're walking around and we saw they had a stuffed animal of Marty, the robot. And I'm like, I am buying that for sure. And my son looked at me and he's like, really? I'm like, yes. And I said, not only are we buying it, but one day at 120, I want you to tell this story at my funeral, that your father went through Stop and Shop and paid $10 for this Marty stuffed animal. Why? Because I put it in my office, and it's the number one favorite thing in my office in school. People come in, they're like, oh, is that Marty? Oh my God, he looks like a turkey, because it was like on sale from last year. I totally agree with you. For someone to smile in this world, like that's gold. And I agree. Dave, 100% all in. And you have gotten me to laugh like crazy many times.
I will say one, and then we'll move on to the next person. One horror story, though, with dating, I guess. If you don't want me to do this now, I won't. I used to think it was funny. It cracked me up that like 10 minutes into a date, on a blind date, I would tell the girl I'm going out with, I would be like, oh, did you say hello to my friend in the back seat?
Oh, God.
And I had a stuffed animal. You made me think of it. I had a stuffed animal buckled in. And they were buckled in. And it was funny. But the problem was
Funny to who? Exactly.
Somebody finally said to me, like, Dave, that's just weird. Okay, that's not funny. It comes off like, why do you have stuffed animals? That's, So I did stop the stuffed animal thing, but
How are we talking about? Like a life size?
no, not life size, but sizable. It was probably. I mean, it's not giving context. It was at least. It was probably like 2.5 feet tall. Like, so I had a fold with boxing gloves, so it was very cute. But yeah, I put that in that I did retire because at some point you do have to you want to get married, it's not.
Yes, that is the goal. Okay, good. I'm now very excited for when we get to this dating episode. This is gonna be a lot of fun. Or episodes
or not. Many people were injured in the telling of these stories.
Yeah, I think it's worth. Listen, there's injuries in sports. There might be injuries in this podcast. Okay. All right, Asher, you want to go?
Yeah. So I guess, it's interesting that you were talking about dating because now it like popped into my head a story that actually was like some excellent advice. So I dated for a long time, not long as others, but, longer than some. And I remember at some point I was having a tough time with it. And a great friend of mine, Ari Pearl, who I believe Dave Tannenbaum knows also.
Yeah, of course. Great guy.
We all go way back. So he told me, let's go to New Square. We'll go visit the Square Rebbe. So we did. And it wasn't really something that it wasn't really in my, wheelhouse, but I was like, sure, let's do it. Why not? So we went one afternoon and we drove up to New Square and we're waiting on this long line. And at the time I was teaching in Halb. So I'm waiting and finally get up to the Square Rebbe and he goes, oh, who are you? I said, my name is Dworetsky. I teach in the Hebrew Academy of Long Beach. He goes, oh, Halb. I know Halb, which I thought was really cool anyway. And then I was like, can I have a bracha in dating? And he looked at me and he said, why? They don't all say no to you. I was like stunned in my tracks. It was so penetrating to be like, why don't you just open your mind a little bit? Like, just give other people a chance. And I had really thought I was giving people a chance as it is, but I think it really did shake me to say, like, it's not, you might be having a tough time, but it wasn't all about that. They weren't all saying no to me. It was true. He was making a very good point, and it was really very healthy advice and good advice. And I really, it's funny that you dredged that up just now. But it was very good, healthy advice. Sometimes you have to take a step back and say, who's really the problem? And in that particular situation, sometimes I was the problem.
Sometimes.
I'm always the problem. Okay, I'm always the problem. Thanks, Mom. Thanks a lot, Mom.
No, it's true. It's true. That's good. I like that. I do like that. I was most of the time the problem, so I can absolutely relate to that.
I can't relate. I was never the problem.
Never. It was the stuffed animal in back that was the problem. Right?
Did they think you were crazy?
I don't know. I think it was giving off bad vibes, so I did get rid of that animal.
For a while, you drove for Uber. Did you do that also while you were driving?
When I drove for Uber, and I had the candy, I had the drinks. I did though.
I just want to say, as a hobby, you did it. It
was awesome. I wanted to write a book, and then COVID hit. I was writing the best book of my life. Really, an amazing book.
It was just a hobby.
It was awesome. I did it at night, and my wife went to sleep, and I went out. And then
you drove someone to the Hamptons, right? Once, no?
Everywhere. I drove the most ridiculous drives. But one day we'll tell all my my Uber stories. But one on Halloween though, I would put an arm out of my trunk, and they loved that. Everybody loved that.
Excellent.
Yeah, but there was I didn't have any stuffed animals in my my Uber. My Uber was pretty straight. I wanted good rating,
You want a good rating.
I hear that. I hear that stuffed animals, both in dating and in Ubering, can get you a bad rating. I wonder, they should have that for dating, by the way, that like you can get rated, like somebody gives you like, oh, I went out with him. I give him 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 2.5 stars, whatever it is. Like you could rate people. And then that way, when you're going to go out with somebody, you could just like look up their rating and be like, ooh, 2 stars.
You're setting
no,
a system that only like 20% of people will get married. You are creating the biggest shit of crisis known to man. You make the shit of crisis bad enough. Wait till Jon Ackerman gets control, and nobody will be married.
I'm now imagining that line like by the Amazon packages, frequently returned.
It's like John Doe, one and done.
Users
likes fantasy football. You know what I'm talking about.
Wait, users who dated this person also dated
stuffed animals.
This is not a good idea for an app.
Yeah, please leave that one. Leave that idea here.
Oh my God.
Not every advice that we give on this podcast is worth using. Okay, so please don't set this up.
Disclaimer. Well, it was like, Dave, when we did that episode of School of Mock and we talked about
wait, back it up a second.
Yeah.
When you're married, you're under the chuppah, do you look at your wife to be in a second and say, how am I marrying her? She only got a 3.1 on my app.
That's true.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, that it does open up a lot of questions. Like, can you get dating prime? Like free returns, no questions asked. You can break up after the first date. Like I used to have people like who would set me up and say, you have to go out at least twice. Like, no, she's a psychopath. I'm not going out twice. No, I've got dating prime. No, I don't have to go out with her twice.
But you know how now they'll let you keep some of the items, so it's like, so you can keep the girl. You're like, no, it's okay. I'll pay for the shipping. I'll send it.
So now when I say did you say hello to my friend in the back seat? There really is something sitting back there. My last date.
Your last date. Oh my god!
Told me to keep her. What can I do?
It's Prime Day. All dates are cheaper.
You're saying about the podcast School of Mock, John.
Dave, I don't know if you remember, we were when we did that School of Mock episode on childhood myths, and it was the we talked about you have to turn off your car when you're filling up gas. We had that whole argument with Shirley about it. He was adamant. So I think we have to have the same disclaimer that just like we are not giving we are not granting official permission to fill up your gas tank while your car is on. You may or may not want to actually take our advice.
Some of our advice is worth taking. I want to point out that some of our advice is worth taking, but when we go off the cuff, I mean, at that point,
yes,
you use your discretion. Like, don't start a dating app.
Yeah, I want to come back to this dating app. I think we're on.
It's not. No, it's gold, Jerry. It's gold.
It's gold. Okay. So I got some very good advice one time. You guys know I worked at NCSY for many years, and I had an NCSYer at some point, and her name is Shiri Wasserman. Now I believe Shiri Safir, maybe. I gotta check her married name, but Shiri Wasserman. She was great. We were super close. And I used to tell her all these different ideas and dreams and thoughts that I wanted to, things I wanted to build at NCSY and program ideas and in the ways that we were going to kind of change the world. And about 15 years ago, she pulled out a piece of paper, like a piece of notebook paper, and she pulled out a pen and she wrote "now" on it. And she like stuck it over my desk. And she's like, all these ideas you want to do one day.
She licked it and stuck it over.
It was just like, Bartlett for America. It was like Shiri for NCSY. But this is about 15 years ago. And I want to show you guys, I don't know if you can see it. So I framed it. I don't know if you can see that it says "now." I'm going to try to.
Oh, I do see the ad.
Screen. So I still have this piece of paper in a frame that says "now." And that is I think great advice that I got. We all fall into this trap.
Yep.
Of I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this. I'm going to start a podcast. we're going to try something new. I'm going to get into running. There's been so many times that I've tried running and I hate running, and all these different things that it's like, do it now. And I remember, there were a few times in my life where finally I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I did it. One was when I got actually into bike riding in a more serious way. And, I started riding and I went 4 miles and I thought I was going to die. And I remember when I hit, my personal record, which is now 40 miles, which is not, wow. I know a lot of people who are listening are probably like, I ride 100 miles all the time. But for me, 40 miles was a big thing, considering the fact that I thought I was going to die at 4 miles. So the idea of do it now, just do it, right? Start it now. Whatever it is that you want to do it. The podcast, same thing. How many people would say like, I would love to be on a podcast. I would love to start a podcast. So do it, just do it. Just go for it and just start it. And Dave, I don't know if you remember this. We were talking about this. I think we did a New Year's episode about a year ago. And somebody told me when we first started the School of Mock podcast, they said to me, John, anybody can start a podcast. And I said, that's true. Anybody can start a podcast, but I did, and you didn't. And so I think that the notion of, if you want to start something, there's an adventure, there's a business, there's something, school, whatever it is, do it now. Don't wait. Do it now. Yeah. So that's great advice that I got.
It reminds me, when I was in college, I remember, like, it was around finals time. I always got really stressed out during finals time, but I always remember going to the 4th floor of the library in YU and just sitting there because it's nice and quiet. But I remember, like, I had 500 pages or something to read in some psychology textbook, and I was like so overwhelmed. And I used to like write all the terms out, and then I'd like write them down and then memorize them and whatever. And it was like, the test I think was like Sunday, and I right after Motzei Shabbos, I'm like, how am I going to do this? And I was like talking to my mother, and she's like, just start. I'm like, but I don't know, how am I going to read 500? She's like, no, just start. And it's exactly what you were saying. Like, sometimes it's not about the 10th step, it's about that first step. And it's really important.
And I'm definitely going to misquote, but a few weeks ago, I had done security for the shul. And I was outside in the hallway. I didn't want to walk in because I saw Rabbi Abramowitz was speaking. So I waited till he walked out because I didn't want to walk in the middle of the speech. And when he walked out, of course, I ran my mouth and I said, I'm so sorry I missed your speech. I really wasn't. I was, when I did the security, I wasn't really sorry that I missed the speech. I didn't want to do the security shift and then come in and then sit in a speech for 20 minutes. I wasn't sorry. And then he says, well, you're in luck because in 10 minutes I'm going to be speaking in the main shul. So he thought I wasn't going to show up, but I went to the main shul. I made sure to wave to him before he started. And he saw me in the main shul, and I listened to his speech. And he spoke about this. He spoke about just doing it. Just do it. Yep. Get started. Even if it's just to have the idea to start, to do it is a step. And I think that's the problem. We have all these ideas, and then eventually, I think he used the story of a woman who had an egg, and they were poor and they didn't have any money, and she's dancing around with the egg, with the family dancing around with the egg, and next thing you know, the egg falls on the floor, and their dreams of having a chicken coop, with chickens from that egg, are now gone because all they did was talk about what they were going to do with it, but not actually put it under the neighbor's chicken. So it's very important to realize that just do it. Rabbi Abramowitz, I heard that shiur and I listened.
I also heard that in a different location, and also enjoyed
we must have gone to like 10 different minyanim.
I know, and I liked it. I agree. It was I didn't remember until you said the chicken story. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that. It was very, very good. He's great.
He is great. He'll I'm sure be a guest coming up on the show sometime soon. It's funny. I was talking to somebody kind of about this notion, and it's like, if you think a year from now, 10 years from now, you have two choices. You can either be sitting there wondering, I wonder what it would have been like if I started a podcast or if I started, whatever venture you want to start, or, hey, I have this great story. I'm still doing it, or I did it, or whatever. This is what I learned. This is what I did. And which point of view do you want to be talking about? Do you want to be talking about that really cool thing that you did, or do you want to be talking about that really cool thing that you wish you did? And so I think that's really good life advice.
Not to take it like to a morbid thing, but I will for a
But
second.
we're going to anyway, yeah.
I don't know. It just popped into my head. When my grandfather, he had a stroke when I was in 4th grade, and he was not the same person afterwards. He was really a very tremendous intellect and knew all of Talmud back and forth. He was really incredible person. But after the stroke, he was different. But in he was alive for many, many, many years after. He passed away when I was in college. But I remember when he was in the nursing home, maybe in the last 3 to 4 years of his life, I remember like saying, I want to go. Like I would go. It wasn't really the most meaningful experience, but I just said to myself, I couldn't live with myself if I didn't go. Like, how would I be able to like look myself in the mirror and say like I didn't go and visit my grandfather? So like I think that's important advice. I don't mean to take it in that way, but I think sometimes you got to put in all of the effort so that you don't look back and say, you know, I could have done this, I could have done that. You know, I always am very regretful that I didn't try out for Major League Baseball because I could have probably made it.
It's a good transition from not regretting spending time with your grandfather who died.
I really regret it.
Not trying out for Major League Baseball.
I probably could be a bat boy somewhere.
You know, you could try out. Every year they have tryouts for the Long Island Ducks. You could live out your dream trying out for the Long Island Ducks.
I think my kids would be happier if I went out for the Savannah Bananas. They'd be so excited.
I don't think you're making the Savannah Bananas. I don't think your dancing skills are up to par.
That hurts me. It really does. Yeah. But I can make the ducks.
But make him think that he can make the ducks is enough.
I gotta tell you, I loved the Savannah Bananas game, and I went to a Ducks game earlier in the summer, and the Bananas was way more fun than the Ducks game. Way more fun. Anyway,
my kids are all into it. They love it. They love the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Okay, should we do some? I mean, that was kind of like we kind of crossed over with the professional and the personal advice just now. Anything else you guys want to throw together before we wrap this up?
I have a professional one. I'm not going to say where it was that I was working, but I was working at a very nice institution, and somebody came over to me and said, you know, you're not going to continue to grow here. So not somebody who was my boss, but somebody who was like a mentor. I said, they're not going to continue to push you up. You got to leave. And I had to hear it. And it really did help me, because I think sometimes people are pushing you along and pushing you along and pushing you along. But sometimes like the healthiest thing that somebody could tell you in life is try somewhere else. Like you know what? He said it in a way that was like, you have skills, you have talent, you have abilities. They're not recognizing it here. They will recognize it somewhere else. And honestly, it was like the greatest gift that somebody gave me, because I was successful in the next institution that I went, and thank God I'm still at. And it's like, it was very, very healthy and very good for me. And sometimes I think people are afraid to give that advice to someone else, to say to them like, you know, you're more than where you're at right now. Be more than what you are. And because sometimes you look yourself in the mirror and you're like, I'm not sure. You know, I think I suffer from imposter syndrome. Got it.
Good shout out.
Yeah.
I think we all do. But it's like sometimes when someone else sees your value and says, you know, you're more than what you're being sized up as, means a lot, especially for short people like myself.
I would say my professional advice, you know, that I got, and I really always appreciate it. It's really twofold. But one, OHEL used to have and they still do. I shouldn't say used to. OHEL has a mentor program where every few years they identify some staff throughout the agency that they want to elevate and, you know, and give them, you know, higher positions over time. It's not immediate, but you learn about the agency as a whole. It's a tremendous agency. And it's not just your bubble that you're in. They want you to expand it and learn the entire agency and different aspects of the jobs. and they assigned you a mentor. And my mentor was West Hempstead local. It was Rabbi Hochbaum, Peretz Hochbaum, and he did two things that I, to this day I still do. He said, I accepted the responsibility of being the mentor for this year. It was a full year. He said, I'm gonna invest my time. You invest your time. So we had set up 11 o'clock Tuesday, every single Tuesday, 11 o'clock. So no matter what was going on, no matter what meeting he had, no matter who he was meeting with, no matter where he was, if he had to go to speak at a school, whether or not he had to do interviews, whether or not he had to meet with the board, 11 o'clock, he always had me in his office. And he said, you're a part of my office at 11 o'clock. And it taught me that if you have a commitment, if you have a responsibility, especially if you want to give over something, then you have to give over, your time and your energy. And also you're investing the opportunity to also see what he does when he's not doing the interviews or the work that everybody sees. He might be signing checks. He might be doing different things. So I thought it was a very impactful mentorship program. But one thing specific that he said that to this day, I always think about. One day I walked into his office with a Glotmart bag. Glotmart is a store on Avenue M, a supermarket. Most people could identify it by the orange bag. Great quality bags. And he said to me, he goes, do you see CEOs walk around with Glotmart bags?
That's a good point.
And if you want to be treated like a leader, like somebody who leads a staff, you can't walk around like a schlump. You can't walk around with a Glotmart bag or a gourmet Glot bag. You have to or I&D. Sorry, yeah. you have to present yourself. You have to have either a briefcase. I know it's an old school thing, but you have to have even a nicer bag, something that you're going to walk around and you are a professional rather than walk around with a notebook in a garbage bag, essentially.
So Dave, I love what you're saying. The way you carry yourself, the way you present is really important. It's funny because it kind of going back to how we started the podcast where you talked about be yourself. So some people would say, well, what if that's not who you are, right? What if your personality is not the put together leader person? And my answer to that would be, that's fine, but then you can't expect to be treated like that person. Part of this whole thing, part of this whole podcast is that people grow and people evolve and people change. And like you might have been the guy with the Glotmart bag, but at some point you graduated past that. The quality of who you are and what you did and how you presented graduated past that. So, be your authentic self, but also have the capacity to grow. I think is very important. So yeah, I like what you're saying. I think it's really, really good.
And that also goes into it. I'm not telling people where to live and what to do, but one thing that came up was there was a certain town.
It sounds like you're telling people where to shop.
No. I'm telling you that there was a certain town that a lot of people from work lived in. And when I was looking for a community, I'm like, I don't need to be in work at home and at work.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's something that also comes into play. Like I want to be myself at home. And I might have to be myself at work, but with a little bit of differences, and nuances. So I think it's important to realize that, like, it's also sometimes if you're living next door to your boss, you're never going to be yourself.
Right. Right. That's fair.
John, I feel like we haven't heard as many tidbits from you.
All right, I'll throw in one more here. I got this advice from an old friend, Stu Botwinick. Stu and I have sat on. It's
not a made up name at all.
It's not. No, Stu is a good friend. Stu and I have sat on some different Jewish youth related boards. On what?
Some Ponzi schemes.
On some Ponzi schemes. No. Stu is an executive director. He's worked for multiple different JCCs and different shuls. And he told me years ago, and I'm going to put my own spin on this. He told me, if you go to somebody and ask for a job, you'll get advice. If you go to somebody and ask for advice, you'll get a job. And what he meant was obviously like people don't love to be asked for jobs. They'll tell you, here's what I think you should be doing. Here's how I think you should be conducting your job search. But if you ask somebody for advice, people love to give advice. Oh, you want my advice? Oh, of course. And once you start going, and once you start giving this person your advice, you build a relationship, you build a rapport, and that was the path towards finding a job. I've taken this advice in a little bit of a different direction. And while I agree that if you ever want to get a meeting with somebody and have a real conversation, ask for advice. Asking somebody to pick their brain or asking for their advice is a really great way to get a meeting, because people, like I said before, people love to give advice, but also stack the deck in your favor. And I mean two things by that. Number one, do your homework. If you're going to meet with somebody, know who they are, know what they've done, know what they're about. And number two is, while you're setting this up, find somebody who knows them and get a positive something. Find something positive about that person. And when you go to the meeting and you sit down and say, by the way, Asher Dworetsky raves about you. Dave Tannenbaum says you are the expert in XYZ thing. As much as people love to give advice, people love to hear that other people are raving about them and that other people think they're the experts. So if you ever want to go and start the conversation off right with somebody, number one, ask them for advice. And number two, open up with so-and-so raves about you. That door will open up much faster and much wider than it will if you just kind of jump into the conversation.
I also heard once, I've never been in sales in any way, shape, or form, but I once also heard that, like, if you want something, you also have to ask for it. Like, I see that, like, you see it all the time on like YouTube channels. They're like, you have to ask to like and subscribe. If you don't do it, they're not going to want to like and subscribe. So I think sometimes you have to ask for the thing you want, and sometimes we're like, can I get that raise? Can I do that thing? But like, I don't know if we're always asking for the thing that we really want. We're just hoping somebody can read our minds when in fact they can't.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You got to ask. It's like the first rule of fundraising. They say, if you don't ask, people are not going to give you. So that's very true. That's very true. Okay, guys, great first episode. Congratulations. On that note, please rate and review our podcast.
Like and share.
Ratings, please.
Like and share.
Like, share. Send it to your family members. Like our actual podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, but also our clips on Instagram and wherever you see our faces pop up.
Most likely, if you send it to your grandmother, it will probably come to my house, because everything seems to come to my house in the mail.
My grandmother's not buried in Elmont.
Next episode, grandparents and where they're buried. And are you opening their mail? Great
I usually don't open it unless it looks like there's a check in there.
Grandma's got one.
This is our own private carpool. Welcome everybody to our carpool.
Ooh.
Dun dun dun. All right, well, thank you everybody for listening, and we will talk to you.